Hello, and welcome to The Inside Out Shift, a podcast for women rewriting success on their own terms after leaving corporate or traditional careers. I'm your host, Evgenia Baikova, business mindset strategist, Clifton Strengths expert, and founder of Fulfillment Coaching and Consulting. I work with women who've stepped away from burnout, people pleasing, and shoots to build service based businesses that actually feel good and make money without recreating the pressure they left behind. And this podcast is where we talk about what it really takes to build a business from the inside out, one that fits who you are, how you lead, and the life you actually want. And today's guest is someone who embodies that inside out approach in the most beautiful and intuitive way. Renee Precopio is the Massachusetts based founder of Read by Renee, co host of the Synergy to Synastry podcast, and a teacher on Insight Timer. As a certified intuitive and astrologer, Renee offers psychic and natal astrology reading, meditations, and coaching to support people at all stages of their metaphysical journey. And her mission to help others reconnect with self love, clarity, and the courage to live a life that truly feels like their own. Whether you're brand new to this world or deep into your own intuitive path, Renee has a gift for making the mystical feel grounded and accessible. And I'm so excited to share her wisdom with you today. Renee, welcome to the Inside Out Shift. And let's go back to that big shift. What's one belief from your corporate life you had to unlearn as an entrepreneur?
Well, hello. Thank you for having me. So, to answer that question, I would say really the biggest mindset, how I operated that I've had to shift since leaving corporate and going into the entrepreneurial space and kind of juggling the many initiatives that I have created for myself is thinking about productivity and my value, like what I have to offer. Because you have to deal with so much, like even when you go into entrepreneurship, and if you have services or products, I have a combination of both. Okay, well, how do I price this? Like, you're thinking about value in a different way. Where in corporate, I was thinking about value where you were trying to prove through your productivity, through your output.
Yeah.
I am a really hard worker. I deserve that promotion. And so it's almost having a different manifestation of the same kind of challenge and
Mhm.
pattern. And so I've had to confront a lot of that and do some unlearning. I have made significant progress. I do catch myself in it a little bit because I have a lot of ideas. So from the productivity proving myself perspective, I have more than enough initiatives and things I'm working on to keep myself busy. So I don't need
Mhm.
I'm not for lack of things to do. It's more so about how do I give myself the grace and the patience for timing everything out. There is no rush. I'm just going to work on one or two things at a time, and I don't have to prove anything to anyone. It's
Mhm.
just
Mhm.
following that inspiration, following what excites me. And of course, if you get feedback from people and they say we're interested in this, maybe you provide that as well. But it's it's reframing and kind of tipping on its head some of those tendencies that we have and we are taught in corporate, and trying to use them in a way that serves the business that you've created, as well as helps you create a little bit more balance so you don't have the burnout, exhaustion, or just that perfectionism and self-critique narrative going on the
Yeah.
whole time.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Thank you for sharing that. And last time we talked about how to create kind of a balancing structure, right? So can you tell us a few words about the structure that allows you balance your creative and intuitive work with the business part of it?
Yeah, so what I started doing, which has been super helpful because I'm a very intellectual person. I am a planner. I want to have 12 to-do lists. I have a to-do list of my many to-do lists,
Mhm.
different apps. It's just like they're all over the place. So, what I've started doing, which has not failed me thus far, is actually harnessing my intuition for scheduling. So, how can I kind of step out of the
Mhm.
intellectual side of, well, I think this is important. I should do this here and I should do that. And I found that by leaning into my intuition, it helps me still plan because I want to, because I need to, but to kind of take a little bit of myself out of it and tap more into that flow.
Mhm.
So, as an example, if I was going to schedule this conversation with you today or figure out my class schedule on Insight Timer for the month ahead, I just sit there and I channel, okay, well, which classes should I do? What days? What times? And the amount of times where I will
Mm.
have a situation where I end up picking what I feel intellectually is an odd day or odd time. And then I go, I don't know why I'm picking this, but I just have to trust it. And then I get there that day and it's like, okay, I had like a flat tire. It's like, it's like something happened. So if I hadn't had it at that weird time, I wouldn't have been able to make it. So I've been trying to trust that process of like
Mhm. Mhm.
there's other things that are going on, and over planning has really never served me. So if I can lean into a little bit of that ease and flow. It also helps keep you a little bit looser to be more creative, which I have definitely been more creative, like podcast editing, video editing for YouTube, creating social media graphics, doing my website. So I'm much more in the creative space than I really had the opportunity to do in corporate,
Mhm.
which has
Mhm.
been super nice. But then you also generate such a long list of things you have to do. And then you get into the same thing again of, well, now I have a really long to do. So I try to follow that. Okay, what is the top priority? My mind says one thing, my intuition says another thing, and I try as best I can, as consistently as I can, to follow that.
Yeah, and that's interesting because you know that there are so many women out there who want to trust the intuition, but sometimes the voice of intuition is not that loud.
No.
And I'm just wondering, what did it take you to start trusting, or to build the trust so that yes, this is my intuition talking to me right now, and what's next?
So, on the practical standpoint, I attended a virtual psychic development school. So, that was
Mhm.
able to give me a lot of tools for understanding
Mhm.
how to receive information, kind of having that self awareness practice, developing different techniques
Mhm.
and modalities to access it. And just as you said, intuition is quiet and it can come in a lot of different ways for us. So it could be a vision of sorts, so it could be a dream or sleeping. It could be sound through music, through literally
Mhm.
hearing
Mhm.
something, through a gut feeling, a knowing, a sensation, having chills. I have that a decent amount. I might be reading
Hmm.
somebody or somebody says something out loud and I just get chills, and they can appear in different spots and different
Oh,
sensations. So
yeah.
all of the different ways that we attune to what's going on. Um, Really, for me, how I learned to start trusting it was the repetition. Because I'm a data person, I had to track it.
Mhm.
I would log my experiences. I still do versions of that now. If something comes up, oh, I don't know, I had this weird thought or I had this dream, or I realized, oh, I dreamed about this the other day and that ended up coming
Mhm.
true. I just write all of it down. But I really was doing it initially because I needed to see it to
Mhm.
believe it, even though I was
Mhm. Mhm.
experiencing it.
Mhm. Mhm.
But I had all of those
Oh.
years where I was ignoring, so I needed to get the data in front of me. I needed to practice. I needed to read people in different settings. So
Yeah.
doing one-on-one readings virtually, one-on-one readings in person,
Mhm.
doing collective readings for an entire group of people, doing forecast readings for a month ahead. Like, I had to test myself in all of these different
Mhm.
environments. And as I experimented and pushed myself more, and I was collecting my data the whole time, you have more of the self efficacy of, oh, I can do this. And I know that I can trust it. So even if I was sitting in
Mhm.
front of someone and they might not be getting what I'm saying, I know what I'm saying is what is supposed to be coming through. I just maybe have to adjust how I'm conveying it or give them more context so that they can kind of come back with
Mhm.
me. So repetition, practice. And then for me, it was also collecting data as well.
Yeah, well, that's wonderful, and it seems like the foundation to trust your intuition is to be skilled in being present,
Yeah.
right? Like removing the noise, being present for yourself, noticing what's going on. Like you mentioned, the chills. Yeah, sometimes we can just, oh, okay, let's go, let it go. Oh, and we are just rushing into something not that meaningful. And yeah, so it seems like when you get that skill of being present, you can practice that. And with practice, you're getting the skill, and then you see patterns, and then you can experiment. And I like that you were using this particular word because when you are experimenting, there is no failure, right? So you are getting results,
Yes.
and then you can learn from that. Wow, that's exciting, and thank you. Yeah,
Well,
I
and I
love
always like
that.
to tell people it's a muscle.
Hmm.
So the more that you are practicing it, the different ways that you are looking to receive. Like I actually just this morning I was doing an insight timer class, my monthly psychic development class, and I just pulled together some little activities. So today, as an example, I had 3 different pairs of socks, and so I would pick one of them in secret off camera, and then I would give everyone prompts like, okay, these are the kinds of questions that you could ask yourself to get details.
Hmm.
What's the color? What's the design? What type of socks are they? Are they new or are they old? Like, it's just a matter of learning how to engage with it because sometimes with intuition, it just comes to us. We're not trying to do that. Um, but we have to learn how to hear it or
Hmm.
experience it or feel it. And then separately, when we decide to reach back out, we have to learn how to, like I said, engage with the energy of it. Okay, I'm getting
Hmm.
this image, and you develop a dictionary. Okay, when I see buckling, it usually means something like this. But then as I'm talking, I get other information and I play off of that. Let me do something with the image that's being presented. Let me set up a certain scenario and see what comes through. Like you develop all of that over time, and you can choose to just kind of walk around in your life and be open to receiving. And you can
Hmm.
also again, extend the arm out and request that, like, "Hello,
Hmm.
spirit team," or whoever, whatever's out there, like, I am open to receiving messages,
Hmm.
insights,
Yeah.
guidance, asking
Hmm.
for signs. So there's a lot of options and ways to navigate and then to harness it as a tool that you can use in your everyday life. What do I wanna
Hmm.
have for lunch today? Low stakes option. It's a low stakes situation. Just
Hmm.
you can use that, test it,
Hmm.
and then if something more intense or more activating comes up, you've practiced in those scenarios where there is no pressure. It's not a big
Hmm.
deal. You can just decide what you wanna have for lunch.
Interesting, interesting. Renee, you are building something meaningful and very intuitive. And I believe that you have some situations when some part of your business still challenges you the most. So, can you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, I would say what I'm currently dealing with right now, I alluded to a little bit with the first question, overbooking myself.
Mm-hmm.
So, because I have a lot of ideas, balls that get rolling, and you never know what's going to come through or what's going to pop up, or especially with the nature of my business, I have, events that I could book, classes that I can schedule, but then someone can also just come out of nowhere and book a reading with me and then that gets added. So if I launch too many things by myself, then when people come in, am I able to receive that? So I have been working on um, how can I create enough space where I'm not battling with feeling that I'm not doing enough because that's again a corporate productivity mindset. I have to do more to receive more. Sometimes we have to actually do a little bit less so that we can rest and we
Mm-hmm.
have the space to receive opportunities and other ideas or relationships that we had not anticipated.
Yeah. Well, I love that you need actually more space to receive. It's like, those who are helping with decluttering your wardrobes, they're saying the same, like, well, get rid of something so that
Yes.
something new can come your way. Well, yeah, I love that. And for women who are living corporate or just left and who feel like they are doing it wrong, what would you
Mhm.
say to them?
I would say my top advice is like none of us are alone. Like there's so many people that have gone through this exact experience. It's just about finding the community to realize that
Yeah.
we're all on the same page. We've all been
Mhm.
going through the same thing. It's honestly been baffling to me the amount of people, women, that I have met in the last few years who have almost my exact same story. They had some sort of a spiritual awakening in 2020 or 2021, and then this past year, 24 to 25, exited corporate.
Mhm.
I continue to meet people who whatever their experience was before, whatever it is that they're doing now, it's the same timeline, and so we're all able to actually connect with each other and
Mhm.
realize, some of us are a little ahead in some ways, but quote unquote behind in other ways, but we can all advise each other to say, "Oh, okay, I've been there. I was dealing with that too." And honestly, I think a lot of it is just mental. It's around our sense of security, the productivity, the
Mhm.
perfectionism, what will other people say or think? What does this mean? Going out on a ledge, and I think that we have to be brave through this process and know that we're not wandering into the abyss by ourselves, even if it feels like that,
Mhm.
because there are so many people that are in the same position. There is a collective shift that is happening, authority being questioned, corporations and systems being questioned, productivity,
Yeah.
norms, and all of
Mhm.
that, the hierarchies. So it's happening kind of on a large scale, and therefore you are not alone. There are so many other people who any question that you possibly have, someone has also thought of that question or received advice and
Mhm.
just knowledge share. Like, let's just connect because we've all been through it or are going through it. And some people are a few steps ahead of you, and others you actually could help in a week from now because you just went through that. So
Mhm.
if you don't think that you're in a position where you could help other people because you're fresh into this exit from corporate, you do have knowledge, you do have something that you can offer and can help other people or to help other people leave if that's what they're looking to do.
Yeah, and also last time we were talking about the noise, the social media things, the comparison, the
Yeah.
perfectionism. Can you tell us how, or can you share a piece of advice how we can keep our inner compass clear when all that voices get loud?
What I started doing, honestly, not even on purpose, is reducing my time on social media. I know it's like, "Oh, that's so obvious, like, just be on social media less,"
It's hard.
but I've spent more time on social media since I created my business
Hmm.
because I've set up business accounts on all these different platforms, and then I'm generating content, and then I have to post it, and some I can schedule ahead of time, and some I have to do day of, or I go back and I add the alt text. Oh my gosh, it's endless. So, because of that, I've had to again find a way to dial back. And what I've ended up doing just because I've kept myself busy is allowing myself to detach and kind of not know what's going on 100% of the time and just allow myself to focus on what I'm creating.
Hmm.
And I'm just going to do that and follow what I think is interesting or compelling, not be hard on myself because I have a list of 5 things and I thought I was gonna do number 4 fourth, but apparently I'm doing it first. It's like, there's probably a reason for that. It
Hmm.
will help inform me, make other
Hmm.
decisions. Maybe it's what people need now. So some of it I always suspect is, well, there's some intuitive pull in making certain decisions even when I'm not engaging actively, but there's some empowerment in that when we can just create for the purpose of creating, not necessarily to be putting out in the world, but because we think it's interesting or it's the content that we want.
Hmm.
And we could get inspired by other people, but if we just sit there and we're scrolling and I could look at other astrologers and other
Yeah.
intuitives, and sometimes I see, "Oh, that's a really good idea. I like that for a post," but I have 40 things before I might be able to get to creating my own version of that. And then other times I just have to sit there and go, "Okay, well, they have their own thing going, and their page is all the same 3 colors, and look at that, and that looks nice, and some people like that aesthetic, and like, you know what? It's just not gonna be a thing for me, and I'm
Mhm.
not gonna bend over backwards to try to look like what other people are doing. I'm just gonna put out what I have the bandwidth to put out.
Yes.
So we have to have those conversations with
Mhm.
ourselves to negotiate it. So in some
Mhm.
ways I found stepping away to not compare and just using it for ideas, but also it's like the black hole that is social media. You think, "Oh, I'm just gonna check this one thing," and all of a sudden it's been 20
Yes.
minutes. And it's like I could have used that 20 minutes to, like, go write that blog post,
Mhm.
and, like, finally finish it and put that out, and then I could put
Mhm.
it on my social media. So, it's definitely a balancing act.
Yeah, and well, thank you for bringing this too, because I used to be like that. I followed so many coaches, and I wanted to be inspired by what they are doing. Like, well, I like the color of the font or the topic or something like that.
Mhm.
And then I realized that, well, I'm losing myself. Like, I'm losing what I actually love doing. I'm losing the theme that I'm passionate about.
Mm.
And I just stopped following them. I unsubscribed. I'm not using my social media for that type of thing. So I am there just to connect with my audience. I'm there to share. I'm there to post. I'm there to post my videos. And this is it. And that was so liberating. Like, I'm not sucked in by all the things. I
Mhm.
still have me. I have my time, and I have time for some other things, and I
Mhm.
love to be creative, right? But when you're busy, when you're rushing, especially when you are following someone else's versions of success,
Mm.
you are not like you don't belong to yourself, right? You are in comparison, and when you are in comparison, when you are living in that mode, can you be creative? No. No, you will be judging yourself. You will be in that negative things that actually prevent you from being creative, from trusting yourself, from listening to your intuition. Yes, and this is so, so important. And also, you were mentioning that how we can receive that information, right? And again, we're coming back to the presence, how to be present for yourself, for your audience, for what's important for you, right? Because, well, we are not just here to build the business, we are also, we are, caretakers, we are partners, we have kids, families, and others, well, friends at least, right? So how to stay connected with who you are. Yes. And mm, mm, I just lost my question. So I was about to ask you. mm, we were talking about
Yeah.
productivity, and you also mentioned that when you were working, when you were in your traditional career, you used to be productive. Like, well, you have to be busy to be seen productive. You have to be busy to be seen effective.
Yep.
So, how to deal with that, and how to, well, and we talked about structures. So, and we talked about the balance, but what's truly working? Like, what are the some probably mindset shifts that happened to you that you want to share with us today?
Yeah, I mean, really any of the mindset work, one of the main tools that I started using from the psychic development school that I went to was mantras.
Mhm.
So at any given point, I might kind of have one going that's in my queue. Um, but the mind is so complex, and separately but related, I've also been dealing with the recognition related to productivity. They are intertwined, and social pressures and
Oh, yeah.
perception, um, of just being overstimulated.
Mhm.
So if we are always looking at what other people are doing, if we're thinking about what other people are doing, we're always planning the next thing, or we have too
Mhm,
many items
mhm,
on our
mhm,
list. I have to do this, I have to do that. And then we get so amped up, and then it stresses us out. And I'm so guilty of that. I do that. And even something as simple as some days carving out time where I'm not listening to something and like multitasking as an
mhm,
example.
mhm.
Like, let me just wash these dishes in silence. Can I do that? because normally I'm listening to a podcast or listening to my audiobook. And so you go, oh, well, that's so helpful.
Mhm.
But we're like people like taking your phone into the bathroom and like look. So
Yeah.
can I just have 5 minutes where I am just working on this one thing? Or because my days are kind of jumping around, we have to constantly code switch and we move from one task to another. And there's
Mhm.
certain, research on that of how long it takes for your mind to
Mhm.
reset and
Mhm.
really dive back in. And so when you're doing that, you're on this call and then you're on that other call and then you're writing this and then you're researching that and then you're sending an email and then you're editing all of that. One, it takes a lot of brain power, but two, you still end up at the end of the day, I know I do, going, well, I did half of my to-do list. So then I guess while I'm eating dinner or like put a show on, so I'm like
Mhm.
kind of watching a show and then kind of working, so like I'm trying to relax, but I also
Mhm.
still want to feel productive, like I'm getting something done, so I'll do something that doesn't require writing or anything like that so
Mhm.
that I
Mhm.
can like kind of have something get out. Of course, if I just sat at my desk in silence, then I would get it done way faster. So it's a whole it is really a challenge because we have to set boundaries with ourselves. And we can say to others, "Oh, it's important to have self-care. It's important to maintain your peace and to not have a 9 to 5, especially as an entrepreneur." Like I will say this to people, like I don't have weekends.
Mhm.
There is no it all blurs together because I could work at 2 a.m.
Mhm.
I could work at 12. Um, I work on weekends, and it's because I'm doing a bunch of different projects, and some require planning, and
Mhm.
some are
Mhm.
short
Mhm.
term, and some are real time. And so that makes it much harder, one, to shift out of the realm of productivity because again, it's like it becomes a different monster. So it's like, oh, I'm being overworked in
Yeah.
corporate and I'm doing so much, and then to go into entrepreneurship, and it's like, well, now I have no weekend.
Mhm.
And I'm
Exactly.
doing like 40 things, and then you can get tired. So I've had to continuously remind myself and check myself. So
Mhm.
when I catch that I'm doing that and say, okay, well, it is late. I probably should just say, okay, no working, after 10 o'clock. I go to bed late. No working after 10 o'clock.
Mhm.
And cut yourself off, like setting that as a boundary so that you can have enough time for your mind to wind down and then go to bed. And so I may get into some of those situations where I will have a conversation with myself and it's like, okay, but I really want to finish this. And I have to sit there and ask, are you sure? Because this means you're giving some of that away. Like
Mhm.
maybe you're gonna be up later or you're gonna be more tired or this could take longer than you think. And I have to have the discussion and say, am I just gonna keep going? I have more things I wanna do, but maybe I'll just finish this. Can I live with that? Can I be okay with that and not get mad at myself later? Because I am making this choice.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
I will sit and do that.
Yeah.
So it's part of like the mind shift. I will talk or in my own head, talk to
Yeah.
myself about it like, "Okay, if I'm gonna
Mhm.
do this, I am making this choice and I have to own the choice and I cannot be mad at
Mhm.
it because it wasn't productive." And that I can just be satisfied that I got that one thing done and that is now pushed out the door, or that it actually took less time than I thought, or whatever it is, and it ended up being fun. Who knows?
Yeah. Well, and you were right. Business doesn't equal productivity, right? And you have to think about boundaries, not just think, but establish and maintain them. And you know what I do with my clients? I challenge them. Okay, so you have your to-do list. Now you have to create not to-do list, and your
Mm,
not to-do list has to be longer than your to-do list.
mm.
So it sounds funny, but well, it's hard to create and the follow. But well, they love that. They love the challenge. Well, because well, yeah, this is something that can help you understand where you spend time, or where you are losing actually your time.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Right. It's so easy. One, in the code switching, as I mentioned, like when you're changing tasks, that we underestimate the effort in that transition, um, or just trying to push through. Like, how many of us in corporate, classic, you hit 2 p.m., 3 p.m., it's like everybody slumps and everyone's
Hmm.
exhausted,
Yeah.
but we're gonna keep going. It's like you're probably gonna have typos and
Hmm.
not really do your best work. So why are we pushing ourselves to keep going when we probably would be better served if we did a siesta, if we actually just took the break during that time when
Hmm.
our energy isn't there, our mind isn't there. I was listening to a podcast earlier and somebody was mentioning this tactic that they started using of working on something for a half hour and then taking a 5-minute break. That
Right.
kind of sounds outrageous. You go, okay, I'm going to stop every 30 minutes. But we probably don't even realize how
Hmm.
often we are stopping or pivoting. And it might even be less than that.
Hmm.
Maybe we are working on something, only one task, and it's a whole hour. But we also might not be doing that. We might be kind of like, oh, do a little, oh, I just thought of that. Let me write that down. And we might be jumping a bit. So if we took the few minutes to pause, to look out a window, like look at nature or go outside or just walk around or bio break,
Hmm.
then we think that that's a waste of time,
Yeah.
but it is a recharge, it's a
Hmm.
reset, and it just I find that it helps really clear my mind, even if it's just a few minutes, or I've had times
Yeah.
where
Yeah.
I'm like, "I'm just gonna do jumping jacks in the kitchen because 'cause I'm like,
Hmm.
my brain is foggy because I
Hmm.
exhausted from, like, 6 meetings that I just had back to back, but, like, I gotta keep going, I have another one in 10 minutes.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
then it's like, "Okay, how can I get the energy flowing?" And then it does feel like there is a shift that you can kinda lock back in, remember what your priorities are, and we have to be able to hit that kinda reset button, and it doesn't mean that the break has to be for an entire hour, it could just be for a couple
Yes. Yes.
minutes.
Hmm. Yeah. Well, Renee, thank you so much for this rich and thoughtful conversation.
Yeah.
And you've given us so much to reflect, and especially the permission to slow down, tune in, focus on yourself, what's important for you, and lead in a way that honors who we actually are. And to those listening, if this episode stirred something in you, share it with a friend, follow the show, and leave a quick review. It helps more women discover stories like Renee's and know they're not alone on this path. And yes, you are not alone. If you want to connect with Renee, you will find all her links in the show notes, including her YouTube channel, Inside Timer classes, and Read by Renee sessions. And if you are navigating your own shift from pressure to purpose or from proving to peace, know this: you don't have to figure it out alone. Check the show notes. You have all the links. You can connect with Renee or myself. We've got tools, we've got coaching and support to help you build a business that feels good and gets paid on your terms. And thanks again for tuning in. And thank you, Renee. And we'll see you next time on the Inside Out Shift.